Hello everyone and welcome back to Suzerain, where we have an assembly vote on constitutional changes. That's going to be pretty important. I imagine it's going to define our presidency, or at least this term of our presidency. Of course, even if we get it past the GNA, we still have to pass it through the judiciary, which is going to be much, much harder. Our projected economic growth is looking good. Our government budget is looking pretty terrible, and our personal wealth is 0, but we did use some of that to hopefully secure some votes. Well, then maybe we should have saved it for the judiciary vote. We shall have to see. Sergei was driving me towards the Grand National Assembly for today's historic vote. It was a big day. I wonder whether my attempt at changing the constitution would end up any differently than Alfonso's. I looked out the window as the noise of the city diminished and saw that we were already inside the palace complex. The complex housed the housing of all government branches in the centre of Huithril. It's one of the biggest developments in all of Sordland. The Maroon Palace stood on a small hilltop surrounded by trees. We passed by the palace and entered the forest that separated it from the GNA. We drove on the small road that wound through the forest. It was a warm day, so I rolled down the window. I could hear birds singing in the trees. Are you okay back there, sir? Hey, Sergei. I'm okay. How are you today? I'm as good as I can be, sir. Sergei made a left turn out of the forest and entered the vast garden area of the assembly. Did you know that Mr. Tarquin Soll came to Huithril this morning? I heard some politicians talking about it today. Apparently this is the first time he's come to the city in the last 5 years. I thought he'd left the mainland and lived on Duru Island, but never to return to politics. They're saying he might be here to exercise his Member of Honour rights for the first time. Who was talking about this? I heard several men talking about it around the gardens of the assembly, sir. I'm not sure who they were. It could just be rumours, of course. Do you think he's here because of today's vote? Yes, Sergei, most likely. Well, I'm sure he will support you, sir. We'll learn soon enough. Sergei drove inside the gates of the parkway and parked the car. We've arrived, sir. Thank you, Sergei. Of course, sir. Good luck with the vote. I walked up the white stone stairs of the Grand National Assembly, and the entrance looked like a temple gate from the classical era. The door opened to reveal vast corridors of wood and white. I joined the crowd of people who were slowly walking towards the parliamentary hall. Suddenly I noticed Lucien emerge from the crowd of packed politicians in front of me, and he looked relieved. Ah, sir, have you seen Vector? He's nowhere to be found. I've just arrived, Lucien. I hope Mr. Vector arrives soon too. At this rate, how about yourself? Are you ready to face the assembly, sir? Yes, I hope it works. Ooh, do we talk? Let's actually tell. Yeah, we'll tell Lucien. We've just landed, sir. Come, we must go inside. We followed the crowd into the parliamentary hall. After we were inside, Lucien and I separated to take our assigned seats. I went up to the mezzanine overlooking the hall and sat down. I waited as the MPs took their places inside the hall one by one. After a while, I saw Gloria walk to her elevated seat at the centre of the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We will shortly begin with today's agenda, the USP's proposed change to the Constitution of Sordland. After a short while, everyone was in their seats. According to the current Constitution, constitutional amendments require a 2/3 majority in order to reach Assembly approval. If the vote succeeds, the proposal will be sent to the Supreme Court. The proposal in question includes these points. She started reading the proposal to the Assembly. First section of the changes, Article 57, is modified with the following. She continued reading the proposal, highlighting each section. Section 2, paragraph 36, may not exercise his right to, and so on. The Justice of the Supreme Court. Most of the MPs thought they were already falling asleep. A simple majority is considered. Section 4, paragraph 44a, felt like an eternity had passed. Finally, she finished reading the changes. I hereby invite all of you to vote. She struck her gavel down. The loud bang made some MPs jump up in shock as they were woke from their deep sleep. As I previously stated, it required a 2/3 majority in order to pass. You may now cast your votes. I felt the need to stand up and stretch. I looked down on the hall from the platform I was seated on. Some assembly members immediately walked to the ballot box to cast their votes. Most of them, however, began to congregate in groups around the hall discussing the changes. Go down to the hall where all the MPs are, sit back down. For democracy, I'm accepting your votes. It might be a bit heavy-handed if we go down there, but we'll try going down as opposed to not doing anything else. As soon as I approached the bottom of the stairs, Cassara Cabana approached me. Mr. President, how are you feeling about the vote? I'm hoping for the best. The best outcome for this proposal is failure. I've lost my respect for you, Mr. Rain. So many problems in Soll that must be addressed. You insist on stalling us with your democratic reforms. I know you will fail, you will lose the game, and so will your entire administration. I hope to be there when it happens. We were never going to get the support of the NFP. You cannot do anything. We'll see, Mr. President. He probably turned away from me and walked towards his seat. Then I saw Lucien waving at me. He was among a group of people in the corner of the hall, and I walked up to him. On my way, I bumped into Mansoon Lecker. Mr. President, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I wish you good luck with the vote. He gave me a cold stare. Excuse me. Huh. Not many people like us. I finally reached Lucien, by now deep in conversation with another member of the party. He excused himself and turned towards me. Sir, did you vote yet? We have to be quick. What's the rush? I'll explain on the way. I signed my vote and prepared the envelope. Together Lucien and I walked to the centre of the hall to cast the votes, and he kept rushing me throughout the process. Gloria bowed her head slightly in respect to she saw us vote. Lucien pulled at my arm and whispered in my ear. Mr. President, we may have a problem. Tarkin Soll is here. Yes, I know, that's what I was trying to tell you. What should we do? You have to accelerate the voting process. We need everyone to vote as soon as possible. We don't know what he's capable of right now, but if Assembly members see him, he might influence them against the proposal. We should make people vote now. Indeed, sir, but how? Go and ask Gloria to speed up the voting, shout at the Assembly from the Centre Hall. Go and ask Gloria, we'll see. She banged the gavel several times, the sound echoed across the room. Ladies and gentlemen of the Assembly, we'll soon begin counting. Please cast your votes if you haven't already. The pace in the hall definitely increased, the groups dispersed, and MPs began lining up at the ballot box. Seems like Gloria Tory kind of is somewhat on our side. Lucien pulled me aside. Sir, what do we do? He pointed to the back of the Assembly near one of the exits. I followed his finger to see Tarkin Soll sitting there. He looked much older than he did 5 years ago, but I could tell he had some same fire in him. Some MPs had already gathered around him and were chatty in awe. The Assembly gradually went quiet as people started to notice Soll's presence in the hall. I'll go talk to him. We should refrain from giving him the spotlight he expects. Maybe you can address him after the vote. As I was talking to Lucien, I spotted Cassara Cabena walking to the back of the hall towards Tarkin Soll. He bowed in front of Soll and gave him a military salute. Seeing this, more people started to approach him. Suddenly, Gloria came up behind us. Gentlemen, why don't you go back to your seats? Let's follow the procedure. Oh, by the way, we have 251 members here today. As you see, the member of honour is here. He has already cast his vote. Bugger. Has he now? So, Mrs. Tory, how many votes are we missing? Only a few. Albin Clavin and 3 other men approached us with envelopes in their hands, and these must be them. Good day to you, gentlemen, Madam Speaker. Good day, Mr. Clavin. I'm sorry to take so long, Mr. President. There was a friend who needed clarification for his vote. He just at the men behind him. Let's get this over with, gentlemen. They went ahead and cast their vote. Let's win this, Mr. President. He walked to his seat with a fist in the air. Now, why don't you two get back to your seats as well? Very well, we shall. We both went back to our seats. When I returned back to the mezzanine, I saw Peter sitting in his chair next to mine. Did you cast your vote, Peter? Yes, of course. He looked at Gloria, and she and her assistant counted the votes. The speaker's seat was only a few metres away from our platform. I really hope this proposal goes through. I hope so too. Let's see. He tried to get Gloria's attention by waving at her. How many votes left? Gloria looked at Peter. She looked annoyed. It's looking pretty good. 20 more votes to count. Thank God. We're going to... I'm not sure we are going to get this, but we'll try. Peter looked uneasy. Peter pointed at where Friends Richter was sitting. Look at Friends over there. I'm sure he was behind this mess. You shouldn't have trusted him. It's not over, Peter yet. Don't jump to conclusions. Well... Oh boy. A single bang from Gloria's gavel reverberated across the hall, and everyone fell silent. The voting has been concluded. I lean forward to hear the results. The proposal has 225 ayes and 26 nays, a historic result. Therefore, while the Grand National Assembly has surpassed a 2/3 majority and accepted the changes to the Constitution, the proposal will be presented to the Supreme Court shortly for the final voting procedure. The Assembly roared with all kinds of different reactions. Peter's very happy. It's just the beginning, absolutely. The MPs kept shouting in the hall. Among them I heard Friends Richter's voice. I want to congratulate the members of the Assembly and the President for finally passing changes to our dusty old Constitution. I also want to thank the members of the USP for working within our party. I hereby invite the Supreme Court to do the right thing by not ignoring the decision of the GNA that was elected by the Sordish people. Loud applause came from the PFJP seats. Suddenly, I noticed Tarkin Soll slowly rising from his seat at the back. He seemed to be struggling and used his cane for help. He stood and gazed around the hall as all the members of the GNA went silent. We'll keep watching him. He walked out the exit as 2 of his guards held the door for him. I possibly should have spoke to him. But it may be for the best that he didn't do anything. Thank God. In any case, the proposals passed the Assembly, but now we have to think about the Supreme Court. Also, Hawker will be a problem. Our best buy to divide the old guard votes is Gurachi. He's the most corrupt person I've ever known. I have no money to work with, so that's not going to help. And we get a steam achievement. Have your proposal reached 2/3 majority? After I talked with Peter about the vote, we both left the hall to discuss our next steps. We waited for Sergei by the entrance. That's progress, I would hope. That shows that things are going in the right direction. Next Friday, the Supreme Court also votes. Interesting. Rain's reforms win over the Assembly. Today marked the biggest win of Anton Rain's term. Richter congratulates his president. New constitution passes the Assembly. CSP criticises Rumburg and Arcasia. Okay, that's fine. Meeting on the result of the GNA vote. Lucian, Peter and I convened on the massive balcony of the palace. It was nice to catch a breeze in the increasing summer heat. Both had grins on their faces, but Peter's got larger as he kept recounting our success in the Assembly. Fellas, the first obstacle has been cleared. Congratulations to all of us. Great job, gentlemen. What about Tarquin Soll? Did you see him again? As far as I know, he's still staying in the whole sword, but hasn't cared to pay his respects to President Rain yet. What the hell was that about, anyway? Him appearing out of nowhere. What do you think was his real intention? He wished to intimidate the Assembly into rejecting our proposal, sir, and it seems to have failed. We can't be sure. He might be here to work with the court. As long as he's around, he will always have influence over the republic he built. We should have seen this coming. But he has no authority anymore. While the laws protect him from almost anything and allow him to be a member of the Assembly, he can still propose bills and vote for them. That's proper authority, if you ask me. When you're the founder of this system, you don't need to be sitting in the presidential office to have power. We must be careful. Indeed. With him around, we have to be extra careful. We cannot let the party slip from our grasp. Exactly, we must plan our next steps. Of course, sir. We had the first hurdle cleared, but now we have the Council of Grumpy Old Men in our way. I have to say that's a fitting description for the court, but unfortunately for us, there are more than that. They're our largest obstacle yet. Also, you're forgetting about Mrs. Edmonds. They're not all grumpy old men. And Mrs. Morgan, she's a member too. Wait, did you just call me a grumpy old woman? He laughed, Lucy, and looked with a raised eyebrow. Anyway, about the court. Mrs. Morgan has been helping out with the lobbying of the court. She began speaking with Mrs. Edmonds, so we believe she's our key figure on the inside. Our lobbying efforts are continuing positively, but they have yet to yield concrete results. It will ultimately be up to Mrs. Morgan and you to persuade the justices, sir. As we have Nia inside the court, that's 1 vote out of 11. Has she managed to lobby anyone else? She has the ears of Justice Dalton and Merton, so we can assume that we have their support as well. So that gives us 3 votes to start with. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but Mrs. Morgan cannot do this alone. Let's not forget about Mr. Hawker and his loyalists. We'll still need to reach out to the old guard and moderates in order to reach 6 votes. If the old guard is against us, how do we even get 6 votes? By convincing all the other justices, every single one. If we cannot get Mrs. Edmonds centrist, we have no choice but to reach out to the old guard. I'm sure the Assembly vote must count for something. I mean, it passed by 90% for God's sake. They wouldn't dare reject such a popular proposal. It was indeed a historic vote. The President has accomplished something even Tarquin Soll had trouble with. But this may also make the court see you as the ultimate threat. I wouldn't be so relaxed. We never expected this to be easy, nothing has changed. That's true, sir. In any case, we should start with our best bet. I already asked Nia to arrange a meeting with Mrs. Edmonds. She's willing to speak with you. How about Mr. Heron Garachi? He refused to speak with us. He refused to speak with you, Peter. But if the President can have a one-on-one meeting with him, I'm sure he'll open up. Lucian suddenly turned around and pointed at the entrance to the balcony. Look who's coming. It was Friends Victor. He slowly walked up with a smile on his face. Afternoon, gentlemen. How are you all doing? Afternoon, Mr. Richter. We're doing good friends, and enjoying the victory at the Assembly. Oh yes, I should congratulate you again for passing the proposal. You deserved it. We should also thank you for your efforts. You were of tremendous assistance. Friends bowed his head slightly in response. I'm looking forward to having many more cooperations between us, and victories. I wish you good luck with the Supreme Court. I conversed with Mrs. Morgner and Justice Zizek. We have at least 3 justices supporting the proposal. We must be united if we want to break them. We must also be seen as united more than ever. Therefore, I'd like to propose a proper alliance for the next elections. A more in-depth collaboration throughout the rest of the current term. That's what I was waiting for. We need a proper alliance. We should surely put pressure on the old guard. Such a grand coalition has never happened in Sordland. We could show people that our parties can work together, that civility and cooperation is possible. It would surely have a great symbolic meaning, especially if we can change the constitution. I'll reach out to you soon about it. We must start organising and announce it as soon as possible. Friends reached down in his pocket, fumbled with the handkerchief, and wiped the sweat off his forehead. Anyway, I'll leave you 3 to it. We should catch up soon. I'd rather get back inside now. The sun is rather intense. He walked back to the door and left the balcony. Well, that was interesting. So he's seriously joining forces with the PFJP, huh? I'm not sure how deep we'll dive in, for now we'll cooperate. Gotcha. A coalition government with the PFJP can mean a lot of things, but one thing is for sure. Once Mr. Richter enters our government, it'll be hard to get him to leave. We should be careful, sir. Lucien looked at his watch. I think it's time to conclude our little meeting. And there was a tap on my shoulder. Livia soon had joined us on the balcony. Pardon the interruption, gentlemen. Mr. President. David Whiskey is calling about the upcoming foreign policy meeting. Perfect timing. Tell him I'll be right there. She turned to leave the balcony, then back to us. Congratulations on the victory, Mr. Rain. Peter. She looked Peter in the eyes as she said this and ignored Lucien altogether. Peter's eyes followed her as she walked out. Peter, keep it in your pocket. Or keep it in your pants, really. Getting pretty hot out here. Peter, if you... I need a... let's have a drink. I can help you with that if you want. After I'm finished with the arrangements, of course. Ooh. Okay, find me when you're done. Have a whiskey. But please don't go and have sex with our secretary. It's just going to cause problems. Alright, gentlemen. See you later. Okay. Invitation to a movie premiere. Or read the report. Ooh. Rumberg whistleblower arrives. That's going to be interesting. Invitation to the movie premiere. Let's look at this first. I've been invited to an exclusive preview of Alfred... I can't even pronounce that. I'm just going to Stanley Kubrick. New film, The Morning Shall Come. Although it wasn't much of a movie-going mood, it would be unpresidential not to attend. With its massive budget and Kubrick's directional cachet, this film was set to be a master for Sordland's budgeting film scene. Personally though, I was just looking forward to spending time with the family. It was a hot and sunny day as Sergei drove us to the old capital. The film was to be screened in the historic Cinema Anglais de Elory, the very first cinema in Soll. I gazed at the vast plains between Holsort and Elory as we drove on the H1. Sergei had maxed out the air conditioning to keep the Cadilla comfortable. Frank fidgeted with his tie as he stared out the window. What's wrong, Frank? Since when do you care about what's happening in my life? I've been busy lately, but I always have time for you. What an honour, Your Highness. Frank, don't talk to your father that way. He's been working so hard for this country. I don't want to say any of these, really. Okay, we'll talk to Dina. Excited for the movie, sweetie? Dina nodded happily. What about you, Peppa? You won something, right? You should smile, and keep doing your best even if you lose. That's my girl. Thanks a lot. Now, no more politics talk, isn't that right, Monica? Of course. Let's just focus on having a nice time at the movies. Please don't, assassinate me. Monica folded her arms and we drove on in silence. Sergei rolled down the soundproof glass between us. Sir, we're about to enter. We'll be at the cinema in a few minutes. Thank you, Sergei. I took a brief look outside as Sergei rolled up the soundproof glass up again. I could see the many towers rising over what was left of the old city walls. Sergei knocked on the glass and adjusted forwards. We were at the main square of Erloy. An historic Cinema Anglais, the Cinema of Angels, was right in front of us. Is this the place? Yeah. It was an old Baroque-style corner building with walls that looked like marble from a distance. There were exquisite ornaments on each side of every window. Sergei pulled the car to the entrance of the building, which was lit by vivid neon stripes in many colours. On the wall next to the entrance there were painted words, "Stop the oppression of Bloods." Still opened the doors and we exited onto the red carpet. We were just about to enter the building when a journalist managed to block the path. Mr. President, your constitutional reform was submitted to the Assembly. How do you feel about the chances of the Supreme Court? I trust the justices will make... I trust the justices will make the right decision. Let's not go after them straight away. Thank you, Mr. President. And were you aware that Tarquin Soll will be president of the proceedings? I'm going to say I refuse to... Oh, I don't know. I refuse to discuss Colonel Soll at this time. Before she could ask anything else, the guards ushered us inside the theatre. In contrast with the cinema's Baroque-style exterior, the inside was modern and sleek, with bare walls painted in black, red and white. The film's cast and crew already in the foyer with glasses of champagne in their hands. We approached the crowd and welcomed by the producers and the event organisers. A man walked up to us with quick steps. Madame, Mr. President, it's so good to see you here. He gently bowed at Monica and shook our hands. It's an honour to meet you. I'm Stanley Kubrick. Nice to meet you, Mr. Kubrick. My producers told me he had expressed admiration for my work. Frank snorted. I glanced at him and he instantly took a sip of his cola. It's very humbling to know that you've been watching and enjoying my movies. If you don't mind me asking, which one was your favourite? This one might be slightly different than my previous works. I love The Man Who Saved the World, because that sounds like me. He stared at me for a while as if he was trying to understand if I was joking or not. Oh boy. That's by Michael Vargas, Mr. President. Beat my film The Sword of Stream for the top prize at the Benfica Festival last year. Frank looked at me in the eye and struggled not to laugh. Why don't we take our seats? It's about to start. Oh, I messed up with the film producer. We entered the screening room and the lights dimmed and the film began to start. I wondered briefly whether Kubrick was commenting on my own treatment of the British people. Oh, it was a period drama set in the 1870s about a soldier who pursues a doomed romance with a widowed British farmer during the conquest of Persia. I wondered briefly whether Kubrick was commenting on my own treatment of the British people, but then he had finished filming long before I became president. As the credits rolled, I made an exit to use the men's room. I was washing my hands when I heard an unmistakable voice behind me. Hello, Mr. Tarquin Soll. Tarquin Soll leaned on his cane. He had the same fragile appearance that I noticed at the assembly meeting, yet up close I could still sense the raw magnetism that kept him in power for 20 years. I found the plot questionable, but it certainly looked spectacular. What about you? Sentimental pablum for the enjoyment of housewives only, and for a period piece, the script contained far too many anachronisms. I'm surprised to see you still around, so what were you doing at the assembly? My country was about to make a rash decision. I couldn't simply sit by. And are you pleased with the outcome? Soll fixed me with a piercing stare. His back straightened. Perhaps my clout with the Assembly isn't what it used to be, but you may yet encounter difficulties pushing your reforms through the Supreme Court. Why do you want these reforms blocked so badly? I will not let you and that bleeding heart idiot Richter tarnish my precious constitution. I'm doing this for the good of the country. Ha! Some of his spittle landed on my cheek. You'll find out soon enough how your country repays you for your goodness. He slipped past me and out the door. So security staff and mine were now clustered outside the washroom, forming a buffer against the large crowd that had gathered. That's Tarquin Soll, I heard someone scream. His guards closed around him and mine around me. By the time the chaos subsided, I was back in the car with my family and Soll was long gone. I think we might have messed up there with the film producer. Rain and summary to Kubrick screening. New language with a milestone for integration. One film, two very special guests. Washroom Summit, what Rain still hiding, and Rain signs racist bill. I was trying to get the NFP on side, but clearly didn't work. Okay, read the report. In today's press statement, Franz Richter of the PFJP congratulated President Rain for his successful vote. In his speech, he showed support for the USP leadership and called the Supreme Court to vote in favour of the proposal. And a Rumberg whistleblower arrives. Rumberg. Oh, these are the people that want to engage in war with us, correct? Yeah, these are unfriendly and overwhelming. A whistleblower from the Runberg Security Bureau has escaped to Sordland by crossing the border and turned himself into the authorities at Estord. Agent Chelston Hailstone has promised to reveal extremely sensitive information about the development of a weapons program. We can give refuge to him on risk antagonizing Runberg or send him back. We're sending him back. I don't want to antagonize Runberg any further. Then I need to, really. Sordland rejects whistleblower. The forecast of Sordland is Suzerain had no choice with Hailstone. Hailstone, a rogue national security agent from Runberg who crossed the borders to seek refuge here, has been rejected. After escaping to Wholesword, Hailstone promised to reveal sensitive government information in exchange for asylum. Rain's decision to give him the boot will certainly appease Runberg, at least for a little while. Let's have a look. Runberg sees potential for warming relations. Following the return of the whistleblower Hailstone to Runberg, Queen Beatrice expressed gratitude to Soll. The Queen has indicated this act of good faith can mark the beginning of warming relations between the two nations. She stressed the importance of mutual respect and cooperation in achieving regional stability and progress. Runberg has informed us about an escaped whistleblower. They have prematurely requested the extradition. Okay, that's fine. We did that already. Considering this defection as a breach of trust between the two nations. That's fine. We did what we were supposed to do. For the time being, at least. Dinner with the family of the residents and briefing on the diplomatic strategy. Let's have dinner with the family first. I arrived home from work, hung my jacket up and put my briefcase on the hall. I paused, awaiting my usual greeting from my wife and daughter. Dina was out at one of her after-school class, I remembered. But where was Monica? From the living room I heard a muffled sob. I entered to find Monica sitting on the sofa, a letter in her hands and a look of despair on her face. Darling, what's wrong? Monica briefly rested her head on her shoulder, then handed me the letter. It's from the Department of Education. Frank's university exam results are in. How did he do? See for yourself. I looked at the page. Below Frank's name and address, his score was written. 435 points out of a total of 1,000. At the bottom of the letter, the word failed was stamped in red. All those years of effort, all those private lessons, all down the drain. Does he know the results yet? No, but he should be back from school soon. I just don't understand. Frank's a smart boy. Why would he sabotage himself like this? I heard a key turning in the front door. Frank stomped in and was about to go straight up when he noticed us both in the living room. Mum? Dad? What's going on? Have a seat, Frank. He took a seat from us, across from him, across from us even, and I handed him the letter. He started reading it. Oh shit. We're not angry at you. I need a moment. He went to the kitchen sink and washed his face. A moment later he came back. I never thought this would happen. I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I should have been around to help you study. Right, you could have taken a break from running the country to help your loser son. Frank looked close to tears. Monica put her hand on his shoulder. It's going to be okay, but you really should have studied harder, Frank. I know. So what am I supposed to do now? There's always military school, you're the president's son, you'll still have options. Yes. Monica surprised me with her enthusiasm. If Alfonso can get his dimwit's son into King's Hill University, I'm sure Wholesale State would have room for a bright boy like Frank. It'd be nice to have him closer to home. Wholesale State would be amazing. A bunch of my friends going there, I could still come home to do my laundry. But I failed this exam. This sucks. Are you sure about all this? It isn't technically illegal? Terrific Wholesale State it is. You could also study abroad. United People's University in United Cortana is free, has an excellent medical program. Communism, I can dig that. Not exactly how I was expecting to spend my student years, but anything's better than the military. This is the future of our boy Anton. What should we do? It's been decided you're going to United Cortana. Wholesale State University. I won't influence your life. United Cortana? Thanks, Dad. Wholesale State would still be my first choice. Not only yours. But it's your call to make after the way I messed up. Monica let out a long exhale. What a day. Who's hungry for dinner? Monica disappeared into the kitchen and Frank to his room. I went to my office and began making some phone calls. I hope I don't regret sending him over there. We'll have to see. Also got something here in Derry. We'll have a look at that in a second. For now, though, let's continue on in Wholesale. The doors to the White Room, like everything else in the Ruins Palace and main nerve centre, were painted white. I took a deep breath before pushing them open. Time for yet another meeting. At least this time it was with someone who liked me. The attendees rose up from their seats. Mr. President. Joseph nodded, he and Lucien sat down, while David remained standing. Now that you are here, let's talk about our diplomatic strategy. Mr. President, if I may, I'd like to provide you with a short overview of where we are at right now. Go ahead. Although we did not make a trade deal with Agnolia, we succeeded in having one with Wayland, which means having increased our presence in the region. These deals are important pieces of leverage and significant first steps in the global arena. We must now look towards the future. Go on. David sat down, pulled out a few papers and started going through them as he kept talking. Wayland and Agnolia were practice runs. We must keep improving our relations with greater nations. We need to elevate our international standing, especially with the threat of Rumberg looming. Joseph cleared his throat. Thanks to your wise investment, Sordland's army is on the way to becoming a force to be reckoned with. Whether it be Rumberg or anyone else, we can handle outside threats just fine. We don't need to beg for help from anyone. But being friendly won't hurt, right? I agree, there's nothing to be lost by making alliances. A military perspective is important, but these deals are more about than gaining allies. We also need to consider the benefits to our economy such deals will provide, especially when we are still struggling to end the recession. David took a seat and brought out 2 stacks of documents. At the start of our term, I had a comprehensive trade deal plan laid out. Following the visits to Wales and Agnolia, we were to pursue potential trade deals with 2 greater nations. Vagasland is one of them. If we manage to get them into the table, there's much more potential here than in Wayland or Agnolia. Because they're one of the most important countries in the CSP, a deal with Vagasland is a ticket to bring Sordland closer to the United Contan and Sphere. We should do what we can to get them on our side. I agree. Vagasland is certainly power enough to deter Rumberg. Moving to Lesbia. Our southern neighbour is one of the wealthiest countries in eastern Makopa. A trade deal with them would be very beneficial, not just for our economy, but also for our regional and international presence. Not to mention they are in the Arcasian sphere. A trade deal with Lesbia could open many doors for us. True, a country as influential as Lesbia could help elevate our economy. That is it for the overview. As to the actual contents of the trade deal, the investment we've made in the Agnoland region has yielded positive results. Lucien pulled out his small notebook and quickly flipped through the pages until he landed on the right one. Looking at my stats here, the investment helped increase the fishing output of the region. We now have a surplus, which makes it an excellent resource for trade. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I need to know your decision before we can proceed. What should we do? Begin negotiations with both. Excellent news. I will begin at once. That is all I had for today. Thank you for coming. Thank you, gentlemen. Joseph saluted as we left the White Room. Feels like me and Joseph are getting on well, which is good. But we need to make sure not to fail those democratic or those diplomatic assignments, that's for sure. Governor Kroll has issued a warning to the residents of Bergia, urging them to remain vigilant around the threat of Golcondas extremists and potential violence targeting the Dutch newest communities. The governor expressed concerns about right intentions between the 2 newest groups, specifically highlighting the threat that the Golcondism proposes for the region. Kroll emphasised the importance of maintaining peace and harmony within the special zone, called upon the residents to report any suspicious activities or individuals to the authorities. The governor assured that necessary measures will be taken to ensure the safety and security of all residents, regardless of their religious beliefs. And thousands of Bluedish students dropped out of their school in protest after teachers were forbidden to use the Bluedish language. A Bluedish teacher who did not abide by the new law was reportedly arrested for the regional police for teaching mathematics in Bluedish. The trade deal stuck with Berlin continues to bear fruit as Bergia sees an upward trend in agricultural exports. Manufacturing industries are also celebrating the decreased production costs that have resulted from the uptake in importation of Wesek oil in the aftermath of the Operation Bear Trap. And yesterday, Herbert Kroll was taken over as the new governor of the special zone of Bergia, following the changes and removal of former Governor Bron from his position. Kroll, a seasoned politician from the NFP, who served as deputy to Felix Bron, has promised to work towards ensuring that the special zone remains stable and peaceful. He has called out the people of Bergia to cooperate with him in bringing about positive changes to the region. Kroll has also emphasised his commitment to upholding the constitution and respecting the rights of all Sords, regardless of their ethnicity or background. I also have noted that our projected economic growth has gone down again. Why is that? Any new situations? Nothing new there apart from Agnoland having a stabilised economy. We are still on a slight uptick, which is good. Ceremonial duty for the Day of Dissension. Let's give it a go. Morning haze surrounded the city of Dera as the sun dawned on the Day of Dissension. The holiest day of the Nuriti religion celebrated the first message received from God by Saint Dast and his 30 disciples. As per tradition, the celebration was held inside the Ark Sanctuary, closed to the public eye. This year, however, for the first time ever, it was going to be televised. That was Lucien's idea. As he saw it, granting the people a rare glimpse of the grand ceremony, showed them how seriously their president took the holy event would ease any tensions that lingered in the region. And so we arrived at the largest cathedral in Sordland. A huge crowd gathered out round as our convoy pulled up to the entrance. This will work out well, sir. Trust me. Of course, that's only if the prayer is done completely correctly. Please don't forget the order. First, you'll need to grasp the holy scepter with your left hand and touch the altar with your right. Kneel before the archpriest and then wait for him to put the sword on your shoulder. Then touch the sword with the hand you touched the altar with. Hand the scepter over to the archpriest and receive the sword before passing it on to a disciple. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? I'm going to take a photo of that. I do not want to get this wrong. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, sure. Very good. You have to go up. Okay. Let's just make sure we get this correctly done. Pretty straightforward. We'll have to go up first. I will come inside later and we will meet up after your party's done. Good luck, sir. I exited the car and was greeted by a chorus of cheers and camera flashes. I waved to the people as I made my way to the grand gates. The Ark Sanctuary was a sight to see. With its towering visage, it cast a shadow over a large portion of the city. I had to crane my neck just to see the narrow spires at the top. Just standing next to it made me feel in awe and dread in equal measure. As I reached the gates, I was spotted by my welcoming committee. The archpriest and his disciples were waiting for my arrival. At my approach, they all bowed their heads in respect. The archpriest gave me an infectious smile as he straightened up. Tall and handsome, in his mid-50s, he was one of the most youngest and popular archpriests in history. Some of his more avid followers even likened him to Saint Dast. Mr. President, praise God. It is a blessing to see you on our most holy day again. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. It's nice to be here in Dera again. The crowd was still cheering loudly. The archpriest turned and raised both of his hands, and everyone immediately fell silent. O great people of Soll, once again we are gathered here to honour the Day of Dissension. I am indescribably happy to be sharing this moment with you, as every blood and sword, old and young, tuning into their television to watch this holy commemoration. Along with the leader of our great nation, I say let the holy day begin. Stay away from evil, O sons and daughters, for evil hides under many disguises. Disguises such as blasphemy, apostasy, and even alcohol. Be good, my children. Praise God, praise Sordland. He smiled beatifically as the crowd turned to rapturous applause, and after it subsided, he turned to me. Shall we move inside for your confession? Confession? Yes, just like last year. Every man must confess before the holy ceremony starts. He led me through the main hall, which had a very high ceiling and numerous icons lining the walls. We walked up to a creaking spiral staircase and went to the top floor and arrived in front of the confession chamber. Right this way. He gestured towards a chair in the dark room. The room smelled of old mahogany and scented candles. The archpriest proceeded to light each and every one of the candles, one for each virtue and vice. I'll be right with you. He left the room. A minute later I heard the sound of a soft sliding window, and he spoke to me with a very soft voice. Anton Rain, speak and confess now before the one God, and he may repent your sins on our most holy day of dissension. I confess that I've been a bad husband. Yeah, let's do that one. Family is the cornerstone of society. Under the watchful eyes of God, men are required to protect their wives and family. But God created us complex creatures. At times conflicts arise among us. Tell me, what was your sin? Either this between me and God. Very well, I shall not pry. Anything else you'd like to confess? That's all for today. Before God, I thank you for sharing. You're now forgiven before God, Anton Rain. May you never sin again. I'm hoping that's gonna not cause too many issues. For the confession to end, you must extinguish the candles representing each one of your virtues and vices. With this, the once burning sins connected to you are now smoke and then nothing. We will extinguish the candles. Well done, Mr. President. Let's move on to my quarters before the ceremony. He led me through the 1,000-year-old corridors to his office. The smell of dust and old tomes was in the air, along with the scent of burning incense being prepared for the ceremony. Very well then, please have a seat. The wooden chair looked at him like it might turn to dust at a single touch, and I sat down gingerly. It was surprisingly sturdy. Are you ready for the ceremony? Absolutely. Very good to hear. He leaned back in his chair comfortably. I wanted to give you something special, a gift to celebrate this special day. He pulled out a large rectangular box from his desk drawer. The box was lined with gold and expensive gemstones. A beautiful sight, isn't it? He opened the box and showed me what was inside. It was a dagger. The handle looked like it was made of pure gold and had a very large gem at the end. On the blade was described Vectens's star. Victory is close. On the other side are the sets of words, King Egmund. The dagger belonged to King Egmund. It's a very important artifact of the Kingdom of Sordland era. It is now yours, Mr. President. Thank you, it is an honour. Think of the past and who we are. Traditions are what brought us to this place. Now then, it should be about right to us to begin the ceremony. A couple of knocks were heard on the door and a young boy came in. He bowed before the Archpriest and me before letting us know that the ceremony was about to begin. We made our way downstairs, where the ceremony was already in progress. The choir sang angelically as the Archpriest took his position beside the altar. When they finished the hymn, an expectant silence filled the room. It was time for my part. I started my walk and approached the altar. We are going to grab the scepter with our left hand and touch the altar with our right. We will then kneel before the Archpriest. We go to touch the sword with the hand we touch the altar with, so that's going to be the right hand. And hand the scepter over to the Archpriest. Scepter goes to the Archpriest. He waited for him to give me the sword. And then that goes to a disciple. I get up and proceeded to my designated spot next to Lucian. He leaned over and whispered in my ear. Compared to last year, that went surprisingly well, sir. Successfully partaking in the Ascension Day ceremony is wonderful. My eyes met the Archpriest and he slightly nodded. The ceremony went on for about another hour and a half. Finally, the noon bells chimed, marking the end of the cathedral service. We left the cathedral to greet the waiting crowd. As I stepped outside, I heard everyone cheering and chanting my name. Lucian's gambit seemed to have been a success. We waved proudly for a minute or two. See, sir, I told you it would work. We entered our days and drove back to our suites in Darrow. Very good indeed. We have King Egmund's dagger. I don't know what that's going to be useful for. We will have to see as time goes on. Let us return. We need to read the port. Currency loses value against Arcasian lira. Let's have a look. Financial reports show us the Sword of Suzerain has been steadily slipping against the Arcasian lira. The exchange rate has not approached the all-time low reached during the Alphonse administration. That's okay. And dinner with Justice Isabel. So it looks like we're going to start whining and dining the justices. But I think we'll do that next time. We managed to pass a historic vote. And look, the L1 high-speed railway might eventually be done as well. So I'd say that's good progress for now. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.